Cannabis has always been a part of my life. From sitting on the stairs waiting for my mother to come home after a party, taking off her shoes and letting her lean on me for support, to quick exchanges of cash behind my middle school, cannabis has always been there. I grew up in small towns where the worst thing you can be is bored, and the solution was often in the form of hush deals, stealing a $20 bill from your parents, and smoking in an empty field where the walk back was enough to get the smell of skunk off your clothes. My mom grew up much the same as I did, a troubled kid sneaking off in the night to deal with her battle through mental illness and a suffocating home. I led by her example, as most kids do. For a while, my escape was through frequent, irresponsible substance use, including buying cannabis from anybody who sold to me, trustworthy or not. At that point, it wasn't legal or a regulated substance, and I was putting myself in danger. I had lost control, and because I hid it well from the adults in my life, there were no consequences. Until there were. I had gone out to smoke as I usually did when something new happened. I had gotten the cannabis from someone new, and it felt different immediately. Going inside was a struggle, as I had lost all balance entirely, and my legs shook with each step. But I didn't have anyone to lean on. I spent the night alone and afraid, and the comfort cannabis usually provided me was completely gone. I told my best friend the next day I would not be smoking again, and he supported me through the decision, even if it was a hard process to cut myself off and lose cannabis as an escape. I remained completely sober for about a year and a half, and as much as I had improved control over myself and my use, I was still battling mental illness, and talk therapy could only do so much for me. After months of failing medication and struggle, I sat my therapist down to talk about what could have been either the worst or the best possible idea for me. My best friend, who continued smoking while I was sober, had mentioned in passing that the reason he had been able to sleep so consistently was because he smoked to get to sleep often. In contrast, my newest medication had me waking up shaking in fear from vivid nightmares. Although I was reassured that cannabis was now legal, it still scared me to think about the what-ifs of going back. What if I got too high and panicked again? What if I'm not able to stop myself from smoking too often? Once I was more reassured of my control over the situation, he and I started asking the logical questions. Why do you want to smoke? What could it bring to your life? Once I had my answers, I returned to cannabis slowly, here and there with friends. I remember sitting in a circle with them, shaking with anxiety as the pipe was loaded, waiting for every bad experience with cannabis to come rushing back. Instead, I got the best bowl of mac and cheese I had ever eaten in my life and a full night of sleep for the first time in months. I began smoking at certain times of the day or night, assessing my needs and reacting accordingly. Routines that had escaped me, eating, sleeping, reaching out to the people I loved, had been restored. Cannabis was my knight in shining armor, saving me from skipped meals and sleepless nights.